Welcome to Best Car Fixes. This is Muhammad Harun Idris. Please subscribe, share, and like. Today we have this car. This is Lexus 2007. What was it? L. Mr. Lou, was L LS460, 8-cylinder. This car here, it has a lot of functions. Engine V8. The problem on it is that we have no crank, no communication with the engine computer, and nothing is working. No ignition switch. The ignition switch was coming on? No, it's coming on. Ignition switch coming on, but no communication with the engine computer. We took the engine computer out. We look at it. Engine computer is good and clean. Here is a location for the engine computer. The customer said that they have a rear main seal on the engine. When they put it back, the car doesn't want to start. So we check all the power, ground. You see here, we have power, we have grounds, continuity on these wires here. There is a lot of, like this one here, for example, the feedback or the command from the engine computer to the relays, those white ground powers. We check all those grounds, everything is good. Finally, I say, you know what, let me disconnect this wire. When I disconnect this wire, ignition come on, car crank, everything. This after second day to third days. Then we realize that crankshaft sensor command is here. You see here, this is the 5, this is a return, and this is a ground for crankshaft sensor. And we have one of those wire is a 5-volt reference. We disconnect the crankshaft sensor, communication is there, but the car doesn't start because we don't have a crankshaft. Even the what they call air flow meter sensor from here to here, we disconnect them. We disconnect all those. You see here, here we have some wire, some relays for ignition 1, ignition 2. Now we disconnect the crank sensor, the original one, which is this, the one on the car. As soon as we disconnect it, we have communication. So I say, you know what? Let me try to get another crankshaft sensor. We call Auropart and we get Duralast. You see this crank sensor here? We get it. Now we know for sure that we have a crank sensor issue. After that, we put this one here. From Duralast. We put it in, no signal at all. There is no signal. You know, like no wave. It's supposed to have the flywheel, it have a counting tooth that the car can read it and go down with it. We don't have it. So we spent 2 days looking for the waveform, RPM in the engine, nothing. So we went back and I sent my son to get another crank sensor. Let me show you. So now, you see here, we went and we ordered one from this one. We put it back, right? This one we put it back. This is the one that in the car. So we get one from the dealer, original one from the dealer. Before, when we put it, there is no voltage. So now we connect. You see ignition. You see here now with the ignition on. We connect our ground scope to the ground of the engine computer. You see the engine computer have this is ground. This is going to the crankshaft sensor, and this is the 5-volt reference. I mean, this is the the sensor reference or sensor signal. And one of this blue is 5-volt reference that is feeding not only the crank sensor, camshaft, crankshaft, a lot of modules. With the ignition on here, look. This is the input, this is the ground. The 5-volt go inside the crank sensor, the 5-volt here, we have 3 lines. The 5-volt go inside the crank sensor, ground, and then it come out 5-volt here. So anytime the flywheel pin pass through the reluctor here, it will pull down this voltage down and go back. So you're gonna have even square volt, it's like even signal. And there is a small gap. That gap is to tell the crank sensor have to tell the computer that where the piston number 1 is. So right now I open the ignition, we have 4 volt. If I connect this one here, you remember when we connect this, we have like 2 volt, the return. But this one here we have 4 volt. Oh, it go down there. Maybe we need to take it out. So I have this ground wire connected to the sensor ground, and this one here, I just take wire. I connect this wire to the reference. And now we're gonna crank it. Let's crank it. You see? The car is start, and this is a clean wave. And you see this gap here? That gap is for the gap on the flywheel. And here is a 5 volt reference connector. It's supposed to be like this. You see? We're gonna have a small gap, and you know, like you're gonna work, and then you have one gap, and you have to be sure that all the signal must be correctly the same. You don't need to have something different, or if there is any misfire or anything that is not good, you're gonna have some difference. But this is how the system. You wanna get the trigger a little bit smaller. It's possible you're gonna get the trigger smaller, or the scale. You wanna scale it?
I used to scale.
Yeah, but this is good. That thing fall here. I hope we can get it. But this is all what we have in this car today. The car is running fine now, and crank signal is good. What we learn from here is, by the way, this is Nissan Q50. They changed the transmission. 2014 Q50. If you change the transmission, please try to save this, especially the used one, because you're gonna write some information out of it. We put a new one, but the new one comes with a CD. If you don't find the CD, you can read and write the same software back, because this is the same software that I have it, 29X6 David. You can write it to all 2014 and 2016, 2014 and 2013 Pathfinder and Q50. Yes, it work. This is the car that is we are working on it, and we have a check engine light, ABS light on, but that's not a big issue. We're gonna take care of that. So we learn from here. One thing we learn from here. That's okay. Let me show you. I'm gonna disconnect. This is the return. This is the return. If I disconnect it, you're gonna see that's what we have when we crank the car yesterday. Nothing. But when I put it here, so this is like a voltmeter, and the voltmeter actually read the voltage. But because we have a magnet field, it will pull it down. It will pull it down and come back. This is only what I can tell you. And also, if you want to go down, I'm going to show you the information for the wire. You see, this is the crank sensor wire. Pin 1 is the crank sensor power. Pin 2, the ground. That means this is the ground. And 3 is the 5 volt reference. Do I have to show you how it look like? You can go more deep here. This is from the wire. You see, it says pin 1, 2, 3. If you look at the wire from the back, you're going to see the pins like this. And this is the connector if you want to connect it. Car is running, we have no problem. Everything is running good. Fan kick in and kick out. The fan for cooling system. We can talk about that also. Also, if there is a time in the future, we will be discussing how many ground are in this and how you read the grounds and power feed on those cars. Guys, let me know if you guys need to know about it. Also, please let me know. I will put some time to pinpoint all the power and ground. As like here for this here, this is a place where you can check the crankshaft sensor wire. This is the ground wire, and this is the signal wire. And then next to it, I believe, the 5 volt reference that feeding other stuff. Thank you for watching. This car is. You found it? Oh, This is to get the piece.
The crank sensor.
Yeah.
All of them.
It fall down there. You have to have this kind of tool. Lou, you are very far from there. Don't forget that it slowly. Ah. Welcome back. So this tool here, the way he holding it is good. So you need to have something like this if you work on automotive. Can you push it? Yeah, this holding is good. So this is the original one, the crank sensor, and this one the aftermarket, and we have a new one. Keep it please with you in case, and see you in another video. Please subscribe, share and like. This is Muhammad Harun Idris.